Hey, good people. I feel like I'm a cat looking for a spot. You know, I've been doing that for a while now, and let me see what that looks like. Yeah, let me rest my face. How you all doing today, gals and guys? Um, my name is Val. I have no real confessions other than life's good. That's the beginning of my LG. Life is good. And I can only say that after looking at life in the rear view of, as people so famously say, it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond. So I worked really hard on my response. And this is my response right now, coming to you in a raw form and with the expectations that I will evolve and I'll be more comfortable with just talking out loud and this important part, which is pushing the button and being still enough to record my thoughts. And I have a lot to share because it's been a long time since I felt the need to share. You know, um, but when I look and see that the world really does want help, people, persons, they want help, and as long as you think of people as a group and not a person, then you'll stay individuated. And I was aware enough of that to, yes, make me first a priority because I didn't want to get out there and be part of the blind leading the blind. But after coming to some conclusions and excuse me, some conclusions and what some others, would have labeled as fantasy, but with the receipts, I don't care what they call it. Um, my definition of fantasy is it comes with receipts of my reality and my dream world. So that being said, this is just the first step, the leadership step to show you what beginnings look like. To show myself that I proved myself right. I used to always tell my kids I don't gamble unless I know I'm going to win or I don't care about losing. And part of the secret to that is I don't believe I ever lost. As we say, all things have been either, a blessing or a lesson. And I know the updated version of words of black and be lack and bless and be less and you know I understand all the lingo on all sides and I acknowledge them, uh, but not more than my intention because words don't mean anything exact anymore if it ever did. And there's at least two or three ways to say something, to spell it, to mean it. So to me, life is definitely charades on some level. So, and yet I remain true to my core. So that's what I wanted to convey to people is that when you meet me, you're going to meet someone that's authentic. And once I, looked up what my name meant and, started to examine these relationships that I had volunteered for, you know, uh, out of willingness or ignorance or a combination. I found myself here, I found myself there, this school, that university, this military branch, this hospital, this church, this park, this relationship, this man, this woman, this, that, and the other. After I did all of that, it was still down to who I am after I've met these people, after this particular tragedy or this particular celebration. And I did realize I was still hardest on myself than anybody ever could. And the internalization of getting things right and knowing a truth, no matter what else, it came at a cost. I would not tell you that it did not. It sure did. And for me, yes, it was worth it. I think that's what makes or should be the intention of whatever you go through. Let it be worth it. And of course, my journey is not by any means over. Um, this is about like acknowledging where I'm at though at this point, and being at a place where I don't have to perform for anyone, to include myself, because that was the clown. That was the queen that needed to be pleased, with herself. And I've pleased myself as a cook, because I didn't plan on being a chef for many other people. But as long as my kids ate it and it was nutritious enough, and so again, I had my checklist of what was acceptable. But instead of being hard on myself in a brutal way, I started to transition that into looking at the crab, looking at the shell that is literally a part of their skeleton, their bone, their structure. So the play on words to be, or the play on phrase to be hard on myself, I thought about the shell of a crab, and word thought took me to, Ninja Turtles and being slow, but, having this superpower. And again, this superpower right now is the ability to follow this kind of thread and apply it to life, so that I'm not in an unforgiving state. I can put a little bit more meat on the bones when it comes to people saying things like, forgiveness is for you, not for them. Or I used to say, I have radical forgiveness for people. And again, I knew that was part of the purging for me. That was my necessary tonic because of toxic. For me, it's not enough to keep talking about the trauma. It's, the same way we keep changing other words and saying unalive. How about, turning it down from the T word to, better treatment of self. You know, just finding ways to pivot. It still acknowledges that, yeah, this happened. I'm not trying to hide it. Absolutely not. But I am ready to move to another chapter, another page. And there are people that are very blunt about that. I've seen them in Facebook dating. Come healed. Don't come with your baggage and have everything and have your this and have your that. And they have the right to do that, but it sounds like a job. But it talks about, it doesn't even say that the price of this or the cost or the reward is going to be explained, to be determined at the interview. So that's about my time. And I do comprehend and understand why women have stopped binding themselves to contracts where, as they say, there's no prenup. So to each their own, and that's my time. Take care. My name is Valerie. I hope you enjoyed this segment, and I'll be back with more Purge after this.